Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Crossing Home once again. We're glad you're here. Hey, shout out Sunday. Friday, I got to play an event to help Oklahoma State Cowgirls softball program. Shout out to Coach Kenny. What a wonderful job he's doing out there at Stillwater. And yes, as you can tell, I'm a little bit partial. Go Pokes, but we have many different people and from many different teams and like many different colleges across the state and nation that tune in every Sunday. But just as good as Kenny's doing, you also appreciate the job that Patty Gasso is doing. And here in Oklahoma, we are extremely blessed to have the coaches that we do at the collegiate level and the success. Oklahoma is getting very strong in that aspect. Hey, today I also want to start out by saying appreciate the friendships that God has put in my life the last couple of years as we go through camp and ministry, and just to see the people that I got to meet at the OSU event and just continue that God puts in front of me is absolutely amazing. Especially one of those friends that I got to connect back with is Jace Brewer. Jason and I played in the All-State game together in 1998, and that story of how we got reconnected through softball is absolutely amazing. But Jace coaches at OBU now and does a wonderful job, and he was with me Thursday of this week, and we were watching some softball. We had a big tournament here in Arapahoe where we're at, and we were standing down the line and we were just talking about life in general as we were watching softball, and he actually helped me come up with today's message. And we were sitting down there and just kind of talking back and forth, and we were talking about how Jesus does miracles and this and that, and Jesus turned water into wine. And then we got to talk about people whining and complaining. And so the title of today's sermon is, Jesus is a miracle worker. He turned water into wine, but he cannot turn your wine, W-H-I-N-E, into anything. And this is why. And this really floored me as I started thinking about it. Philippians 2:14 says, do everything without complaining or arguing, whining, arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure. Let me read that to you one more time. Do everything without complaining or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure. I didn't even think about that, but God considers whining or complaining or grumbling sin. And that really blew me away, because I'm very guilty of this. Have you ever talked to somebody or know somebody that all they do is complain? It is absolutely draining to talk to somebody that complains all the time, because there's no hope. It's all negative. There's no hope in that conversation. And all of a sudden you find yourself happy and joyful, and then you're like, wow, what just happened? See, because God sees grumbling and complaining as you blaming him for the negative things that happen in your life. And so we live in a world that is sinful, and bad things happen to good people, and they're not explainable because of the sin that is in this world. You're talking sickness, death, disease. If it was not for sin, we wouldn't ever have death. And so when sin came into the world, then entered death. So grumbling and complaining keeps you from your purpose in life, because it makes you focus so much on the negative that you take your eyes completely off what Jesus has for you. So one of the final thoughts that I want to put out tonight is, when we practice for softball, or we invest in something, and the more we invest, the better we become. So the more that we complain and the more that we grumble and argue and whine, the more we are invested into what we were doing. And so if you invest your words and you invest your mindset, positive or negative, whatever you invest in that, is how you will go. And I'm going to read this to you. If we can stay positive and focus on Jesus, our purpose will be realized and we will be released from the whining and complaining trap. Guys, God has a plan for you, and it's wonderful. If we keep our eyes on Him and out of the negative, we will do just that. We will complete the mission that God has for us. So one more time, Jesus was a miracle worker. He turned water into wine, but God cannot turn our wine into anything. Guys, been a pleasure. Thanks for tuning in today. We love you. Catch you down the road. Go compete for Jesus. Later.